Uzi, great to see and hear from you, mate. How are things at the moment? A bit of quiet time for yourself?
Yeah, a bit of quiet time, just chilling, enjoying not having to worry about cricket, a little bit of golf, family time. It's nice. It's nice. When you play cricket, honestly, I seen the other guys are probably like this, but you wake up in the morning and you literally, I wake up and I'm like, oh, what time is it? What I got on? Training, game, day one? No. And literally that's where my head's at. And then it takes me about 2 weeks after I stop playing. And then for those first 2 weeks, I'm doing the same thing. Waking up in the morning, I'm like, crap, we have training today? What do we got on? And then it takes me about 2 weeks' time. Then finally I start waking up and I'm like, okay. We're good. All right, let's relax. So it's been good.
And you can just blend into the day the way you want to, which is always an ask when you've got little kids. But anyway, I'm sure you enjoy that. I mean, mate, we've tried to get you on before, but the timing hasn't quite worked out. One fan actually put up on our Instagram feed, at Everything Usman. He's been commenting on our Instagram post asking when the Test Player of the Year will be on the pod. So our question to you is, when did you set up that burner account and how's it going for you?
About 2 weeks ago. No, I love that guy or girl, whoever you are. What's it called? Everything Usman?
Yep.
I love it. I appreciate it. Thanks for the support. I wish it would be very funny. I wish I did make a burner account. So I would love to stitch your producer Sammy up. I've known him for a while. I'd love to stitch him up doing that, but no, that wasn't me. So I'm on. I'm ready to go. I see your snippets on Instagram and whatnot. It's pretty funny because I don't know you too well, Adam, but I've known Hads for a long time. Since I was young, and I tell you what, it's so fun. I love seeing Hads. I love seeing retired Hads. Retired Hads is very different than playing Hads. I'll tell you that much.
Really?
Yeah, playing Hads is scary. So when I first came into the squad, there was just one rule, and I figured this out pretty quickly. It was just like, don't F with Hads. Like, you see him, I saw Hads, I made conversation with him. Yeah, we both support Raiders. How's it? Yeah, Raiders. Yeah, what's going on? Yeah, cricket. Yeah, this and that. And I was like, yeah, nice to see your Hads. And I just walked past. I'm like, don't get in that man's crosshairs. He's scary. It's funny. I enjoy watching the lighter side of Hads now. I remember there was one time that I think it was the way I found this out was I think Stephen O'Keefe said something. I think when they were out one night, and I love Socky too. He's one of my good mates, and I think he might have said something that Hads might have not totally agree with, and I think Hads didn't talk to him for like 6 months. So I was like, don't mess with Hads. Just keep your head down. Don't say a word. Yes, sir. Thank you, sir. Bye, sir. So I was hoping you'd be on the pod today, but maybe next time.
No, he's deep asleep. Well, while we record this, he's still at the IPL, so he's trying to sort out his team over there, and he can have that. So I'll continue to try and steer him away from old Hads for you, Uzi, as this pod goes on.
Old Hads was entertaining. Old Hads gave me a lot of time too. Don't get me wrong. He gave the youngsters a lot of time. Just respect him. That's all you have to do. I like that. Respect the elders. I respect that. I want the same youngsters. Do the same to me. Respect me, or I'll come at you.
Well, mate, you're a Queenslander now because you play for them, but we're endeavouring to try and get as many Queenslanders that he had verbals with back in the Shield days. So we'll get a bit of old Hads on the pod with the new Hads as well going forward. But
sounds good,
mate. We're speaking to you, your Prime Video's official ICC Men's T20 World Cup ambassador. Now, a quick one, a plug for the Prime Video crew. Our members in Australia can watch every match of the Men's T20 World Cup, which is coming up in June at no extra cost, and new customers can watch it in a 30-day free trial. And excitingly for you, Uzi, you're spending a bit of your spare time by going to the tournament with the mob you're working for, Prime Video, and you're going to New York for the India-Pakistan game. Mate, how good.
Yeah, it'd be epic. I mean, it's about time. My wife's been getting Amazon Prime packages sent to the house for the last 3 years on constant rotation every day, so it's nice to finally get something out of the Prime subscription, because it seems like it's just been one-way street for her. So nice to get some cricket on there, but I can't wait. Yeah, it's I love the US. I have relatives in the US, so I've visited a lot. I think I've been 10 times. They live in Virginia, about 2.5-3 hour drive south of New York. Obviously, there's starting off in Trinidad with Aussie team. I'm sort of doing a preparation, warm-up games and whatnot, and then I'm heading off to New York and that India-Pakistan game. I mean, there is literally nothing bigger in cricket when it comes to tournaments. I mean, we have the Ashes, which is separate because it's Test cricket. You have the rivalry between Australia and India, obviously. But on a world stage, getting everyone watching. So I think that's my dog snoring. I got to get LeBron.
Nah, it's all
Buddy, stop snoring. You might be able to hear that in the background. I'll get him in a second. But look, I love the fact that cricket's coming into New York City. I love US sports. I love, I love basketball. I grew up watching basketball. I grew up, even baseball to an extent. I love watching baseball at school when I was younger. The theatrics, the entertainment. They know entertainment, and I'm looking forward to seeing it in New York. I'm looking forward to seeing it in America. We've seen the MLC. It would be so cool. Hopefully everything works out, goes smoothly. There's obviously some new grounds, new stuff happening. But India versus Pakistan, New York, billions of people will be watching. It would be so sweet. Now give me a second, Adam. I'm going to try to get my little fella out because I can hear him snoring.
It seems like such a massive opportunity for cricket if it's done right. Now, you could do it one way and just do it quickly and throw it all up and hope that it works. But if you get the infrastructure, it feels like, Aussie, if you get the infrastructure around the game in the States, that there is a market that's available. There's a country of 330 million people. So I'm intrigued to see how this goes with, they've got the base in the West Indies for a lot of the teams, but playing a few games in North America is, it's a very new concept that they can capitalise on if they do right. What do you see as key?
Yeah, I think the key, firstly, the expats over there are going to be key straight away to get the games in, get following, get people in the ground. I mentioned I have close family over there. I have close family friends there too. I have an uncle we call him uncle. Everyone's an uncle in subcontinental culture. He's a family friend. He's not related to me, but he's uncle. His name's Mohsin. He's in Texas, and he plays in the under-15 USA team. He tours around. He loves cricket, and the team, the USA over 50s team is filled with expats from Pakistan, India, all over the subcontinent, Bangladesh, wherever it may be, Sri Lanka. It's the expat community over there is huge, and they love watching cricket. So I think first and foremost, you'll get the expats involved. They're going to want to watch cricket, and then their children will hopefully start to watch cricket, because you know what happens. What you watch on TV is normally what your sons and daughters usually watch. You're watching footy, they'll watch footy, watch golf, they'll watch golf with you because they're stuck, because dad's not going to change the channel. If mum's watching something, she's not going to change the channel, so you're the boss, you get to decide. So they'll filter down, I think, to the kids right now, because the kids aren't really exposed as much in America to cricket like they are in Australia, because it's on all the time, it's in front of you. I think that's a big one, but the biggest one is going to be trying to get the general population involved in cricket. Personally, I think the only way you do that is there's stuff going on around. I'm in the house, and there's the dishwasher going off now. It's a nice tune. It's still going. Give me a second.
I just want to know what kind of dishwasher sings. I thought that was the doorbell.
It's still going.
Doesn't it just beep when it stops? It's ready.
Yeah. Yeah.
Man,
there you go. We're back. We're back.
It's
got everything, this potty. But I think getting the general population is going to be the key, because the reason cricket's so massive is because it's an international game, right? It's the second biggest sport in the world for a reason. It's got the population of the whole of subcontinent. You got 1 point something billion in India, you got almost 300 million in Pakistan, all in Bangladesh, and then you count for Europe, obviously, in England, and Australia's population is relatively quite small. Like our sporting populations, our population is small in general. It's 25 million compared to almost 300 in the US. So even if you can get a small percentage of that market in the US with the general population watching cricket, it'll be such a boost to the game and be able to develop and grow the game. But even bring more remuneration for the players, which I'm about to. I'll finish my career at some point in the next few years, but I think the more that happens, the game grows. The better it is for the game. So I think if we can somehow find a way to crack in the market, it'll be huge for the game.
Recently, the Australian team was released for this tournament that you're going to be all over for Prime Video. So Jake Fraser-McGurk misses out. He, on Willow Talk a couple of weeks ago, he was very clear about where he knows his place is. But for you, as an outsider looking into this squad, Do you reckon it's a mistake not taking him, or fair enough?
Hard to say mistake. I think they see him, personally, I feel like they see him as a top three. And, I mean, who are you going to kick out of the top three? Warner, Head, Marsh? I just don't see any of them. You kind of argue that maybe take him as a reserve, but I think some of the other spots in the middle and the all-rounder spots and the spinner spots might be more important in terms of having a reserve right there and then in terms of team dynamic than having Fraser there right now. If one of the top three get injured, it's easy. You just take Fraser, put him straight in. But you only get to pick a certain amount of players, so you got to worry about the other players that come into the dynamic too. And there'll be times where we potentially play two spinners, times where we play one spinner, more quicks, maybe a couple of all-rounders. There's a lot of other positions that you also need to worry about in the squad that you want to figure out. So, it's going at the beginning of time. Sometimes the young fellas just have to bide their time a little bit because you have to knock off. You have to knock off the old boys that are up there and done it time and time again. It's just the process of how it happens. So it's great to see Fraser McGurk actually. He struggled a little bit in Victoria, down there in terms of his cricket. You could see he came out with a bang. You're like, oh, this guy can really hit a ball, and he's a great fielder, great mover. But it really took him, obviously, to move, I guess, to South Australia. It's always tough. I know from personal experience, moving from New South Wales to Queensland was one of the toughest decisions I made, is moving away from home and family and everything for him to do that and to see the way his game has excelled from that. I think he's just, you can tell he's had a bit more freedom. He's done things his own way, and last year was a breakout season for him, and now to see what he's doing in the IPL this year has been really, really awesome to watch. I mean, I love watching him. Every time he's on TV, I'll sit and wait and watch. The other day, can't remember who he was playing, but I thought, my wife's like, well, what are you doing? Well, I just watch TV for a second, just watch the IPL. She's like, oh, can we watch something else? I'm like, just 2 minutes, because Fraser's on. I just want to see this. His first couple of overs is going to be good. But he ended up batting for like 6-7 overs and got 80 off like 130 balls or something ridiculous like that. And it was just so entertaining and kept me glued onto the TV. So that's what he brings to the game.
Now, talking of things worth watching on TV, the Test Season 3 is out. You've played a central role in a few of these documentaries that have come to light, and Adrian Brown, shout out to him, he's the brains behind it all, producer down in Melbourne, who's put it all together. And again, I'm sure this is going to be fantastic to watch. I was glued to the first couple, especially glued to that little moment over in the Middle East where you had with JL, where you basically it was one of the sharper moments of the whole thing. Looking back on that, did you mind, at the time, do you know cameras around, and did you mind how it was portrayed? Because there are certain things that can be done to vision to, we know reality television, you can portray anyone a certain light. Looking back on it, you okay with it?
Yeah, perfect fine. If anything, I think they cut out a lot of stuff out there. They went on for about 7 minutes, and I think they showed it for about 20 seconds. I laughed. I'm like, you should put all of it in. It was actually really good TV.
What did you end up saying to
it? It went back and forth. It just went back and forth. I genuinely think my relationship with JL was stronger because of that incident. I think he actually found a bit of respect for me because he knew I wouldn't go behind his back. They either do two things. You go behind his back and you niggle behind his back and you whinge behind his back, or you stand up to him, with confidence, and you speak your mind, and he knows exactly where you stand. And I think that's got more to do with respect than anything. And I think he saw that and he respected that. He wasn't going to go behind his back. If he had any issue, he was going to come straight to me. And he wasn't afraid because he knew people were intimidated by him. And I think, maybe we talked about, young Uzi with younger Hads growing up. I came in a team where I was in that old school sort of environment. It wasn't just Hads, there's guys like Stuart Clark, Simon Kadich, Michael Clark, toughest nails guys that I grew up playing cricket for in New South Wales, and I learned the hard way of what it looks like to be a tough cricketer, a tough person, to be able to have hard conversations at times. And I think as much as that conversation went back and forth, I swear, it probably went for around 6 or 7 minutes, and there was a lot of, there was a few F-bombs thrown around, there was a few 2 and 4s, but I think my respect with JL mutually grew so much bigger. Credit to JL. I still remember he came We finished that. We trained a little bit more. We had lunch, and he was the first person that came and sat down next to me with his plate of food and chatted straight away. Chatted to me, just broke the ice straight away, and we had a good conversation. We joked around, water on the bridge, no issue. And I respect that. I love having hard conversations. I had no issue. I'm not the kind of guy that holds grudges, and neither was he. And I think that's the way to do it, especially if you want to be successful in a team environment.
I'm going to call up 80 Brown and get that other 6 minutes 40 of that conversation to see how it goes. But season 3, mate, World Test Championship, you're going to revisit this one a couple of times, aren't you?
I mean, it's pretty special. It's special for a lot of the guys, but I guess beating India is always a challenge, no matter where you are. Beating India is tough. World Test Championship, everything running along. We're the top 2 teams. I mean, I wasn't expecting to be in the Test team 2 years ago. I watched the first Test Championship. I was playing in the PSL. I remember watching New Zealand and India fighting it out. And I thought, this is... I wasn't sure about it before then, but when I saw them 2 fighting it out, I was like, this is pretty cool. And New Zealand won that Test match, and I was... All right, that's pretty cool. And I was like, man, that'd be really cool to be part... Not thinking I would ever be a part of it, but I was like, that would be a cool thing to be a part of, and I'd love to see Australia win that. That'd be really cool. In my head, my Test career was over, so I wasn't thinking about me being there at all. So to actually be there for the next Test Championship and winning it, it's pretty surreal. It's pretty cool. You have to look back on it and like, man, I'm lucky. I'm so grateful, fortunate to be here. And it was just great to be able to celebrate that, because all the families were over too, because we had a big Ashes campaign coming up. You know, we had one eye on the Test Championship, but we had probably 3-4 eyes on the Ashes too. Like, it was big for us, but the families were there, so we got to finish and celebrate, and wives, partners, and kids, mothers, fathers were there to be able to celebrate with us in the change rooms afterwards. Just made it even more special, even more cooler. So I think the boys had a lot of fun.
And that momentum really spilled on to the start of the Ashes as well, didn't it? And it'll be explained in this series of the Test out now that those first 2 tests went really well up until a point. We'll get to that point in a second, but that first one in Birmingham, so you cracked that enormous ton. Fantastic. Pat, as he does, takes all the headlines at the end of the Test match with getting us home as well with Nathan Lyon. But on reflection,
don't worry about the guy who batted 5 days. You're killing me.
But personal satisfaction is something I don't know. As Australian cricketers, it seems like personal satisfaction is always held a bit more within. And letting the team take centre stage. But inside you must have been over the moon with how that one went for you personally.
I mean, 100%. The older I got and the more I've realised, maybe it's ingrained in Australian sporting culture, cricket culture. I think you realise it as you get older too. Scoring runs is awesome, but scoring runs when you win is so much better. You score runs and you lose. It's hollow. It's cool. I'm not gonna lie. Like, you score 100, every 100 Test 100 is like, wow, that's pretty special. That's awesome. But adding a win onto that, and adding the win the way we did it in Edgebaston, first Test match, we're getting absolutely crucified. There's like, that Edgebaston crowd is full on, and I think in a good way. Like, they were full on in terms of like the atmosphere they created in there was like nothing I'd ever really experienced. They only hold like 25,000, but it felt like I was 90,000 at the MCG, just towering over me. And to be out there amongst it, and all the hype that went before it, the baseball, all this stuff, and to get to the last session of the 5th day, we had heartbreak in 2005 there with, is it Casper getting caught off the glove. So we had history there already, and thinking, oh no, not again. I'm going to get close again. And to be able to win it like that was, that was an amazing, personally, it was an amazing, you mentioned it was amazing for me personally to be able to score runs and to contribute. But what I remember is when we actually hit the winning runs and running, because I was in the change room, I was like, I'm not moving. I was lying down in the change room, so I wanted to go out. I'm like, no, I'm not going to move. I'm not a superstitious guy at all, but I was just like, there's 2 tents. It was so tense, honestly. The guys on the boundary, they were so tense, and they were making me tense. And I'm like, I can't sit with them. So I was sitting out there initially, and I'm like, I'm going to have to go to the change room because these guys they're making me tense. So I just sat in the change room by myself. And then when winning run was hit by Paddy, I sprinted out to the middle and jumped on all the boys. And that's the thing I remember, like one of the things I remember the most. It was such a cool moment. It's that kind of stuff just puts the icing on the cake when you have score runs beforehand. So that was the really special stuff. And then again, once again, to celebrate it, see my family and see Aisha. And Aisha used to think it was on the documentary too that I took her up to the press conference because she didn't want to leave me because she hadn't really seen me for a while there, a week and a half or so. So there was lots of special moments, not just on the field but off the field.
Unreal. Test 2, Lords. Have you watched it yet? How they've cut it all together with Bairstow and the long room, and at lunch where Johnny Bairstow's standing there waiting for his plate of food, and Davey Warner turns around and says something, or something like that happens.
I'll see a good classic me and Davey joke. Yeah, classic me and Davey joke around. I've seen him right next to him. So, yeah, and obviously people talked about it, fair bit. Johnny was just, we've talked about it so much. Johnny was just he would not look away. He was just. Yeah, it was so awkward. It was hilarious. I love awkward situations. I was just giggling. I was like that's a nudging ball. He's not looking away. It was like, yeah, this is weird. And then he actually, obviously all the boys have talked about it. Are you happy with yourself? Davey, just a witty man Davey is straight away, just no remorse. It was hilarious. Yep. And just kept eating his food, and the boys were just stitching themselves, and that's probably one of their favourite memories. It's funny. It's and Johnny went back at him, and I had to be the mediator. I love a little scrap, but I was like, no, this is not cool. This is the Lord's lunchroom. And I was like, boys, calm down. Like, you're in the Lord's lunchroom. Chill out. And to their credit, both of them, Johnny pulled back. But David didn't say anything else. I had to sort of mediate between them because I think hell was about to break loose by the feel of it. But it was funny. It's that's the emotion of the game. I think that's what made the game, the series so special, because there was so much drama on the field, off the field. There was just so much happening. I mean, I still blame the Lords dessert for all the issues. We normally go to Lords and we have, everyone talks about playing at Lords, doing this. I'm telling you what, the thing the boys look forward to the most is the food.
Yeah,
the boys love the Lord's food. You get the 3-course meal. You get to pick off the board. Yeah, I'll have this today. I'll have that. You have like these prawns in front of you, already peeled with cocktail sauce. You don't have to do any of the hard work. But the icing on the cake is the dessert. The desserts they're like sticky date pudding, apple crumble with ice cream. So if you sneak out, you're like pretty devastated. You snuck out, you're angry, but then the dessert makes you feel a little bit better. And you're always like, oh, that dessert's coming. So there's always a plus side. But this is the first time there was no dessert on the menu. That apparently the nutritionist from England side and the Australian side, this is what the lady who's been working there for Yonge, so I've seen every single time said, and she goes, yeah, the nutritionist said no desserts this time, so we didn't make any desserts. And we found this out the day before the test match on top up whenever we were at training, and we were devastated. We were like, can we change that? Can we get dessert in? Like, sorry, it's too late. Catering's already done. You can't bring it in. So I'm blaming it on dessert. I think boys were just rolled up, both from the English side and the Aussie side. There was no dessert around. So they were moody. They were grumpy. I feel them. So was I. I want that dessert.
Mate, well, hopefully they've turned things around for the coming summer over there in England. I think it was either Sri Lanka or West Indies. So.
I hope so, but it's no good for us now.
No, you're gone.
That time's gone.
Nathan Lyon said recently, if he stayed fit, you win 4-0. You agree or disagree?
It's a classic Lino statement, isn't it? It's a classic Lino.
It's McGrath-like, isn't it?
Oh, yeah. I mean, even I joke around myself, call myself the people's champ and take the mickey out of myself. I'm not sure if I'd ever say that. No, I'm not going to go 4-0. I do think he was a massive part for us. He holds the bowling attack together. I've said this to him. I said, you hold the bowling attack together as much as anyone else. It was a massive ask for, a new Test cricketer to come in, like Todd Murphy and to fill the boots of Nathan Lyon. Even Nathan Lyon couldn't fill the boots of Nathan Lyon when he first started playing Test cricket. It's not possible. It's not how it works. So he was a massive loss to us. 4-0, I'm not sure, but I think he would have definitely made a difference in some respect to winning the series. But I caveat that by saying we should have won the next test after it, because the next test after it, spin wasn't really used much in that game anyway. It was at Headingley. It was green seamer. A lot was happening. It was nipping around. We had the game right there and then. In the third innings, particularly we were batting, we had a lead. Marnus and myself was in, and then Marnus got out, and then Stephen Smith got out, and then Woakesy came on and nicked me off. And I mean, that was the biggest one. I still joke around and nudge Marnus and say, "You're the blame. That stupid sweep shot you played out of nowhere, we didn't have to. You had literally mid on and mid off up, just hit him back over their heads, and you didn't do it. You know what I'm saying? you weak so and so." So he knows. He's like, "Yeah, I should have just hit him back over his head." I was like, "Stupid sweep shot," and then that kind of started the right. We joke around about it, but we had the game right there. So if me and Marnus batted for another half an hour more, we would have literally just shut them out, because you could already tell they weren't talking on the field. They'd gone down. They were quiet. We were right on top of him. We got that Marnus wicket. Then they got Steve Smith out a couple of overs later. Then myself out a few overs after that. I think it was that game's right. Then we had it, and we still could have won it. And when we were bowling, I mean, we still could have won in that fourth innings, but we didn't. And that was a big turning point. I remember we lost that game, and I remember saying to Marnus afterwards, I was like, "Oh man, I hope we just didn't lose a chance to win the Ashes right there, because it was a big game for us, and it was right there on a platter for us. We didn't take." So I do caveat what Nathan Lyon said about 4-0 with that. I think he would have made a difference, definitely. But I think we should have won the next game anyway.
Fair enough. We're going to just have a little spell, Uzi. Back in a moment with a bit more about your career. I want a Dave Warner story, because we all love Dave Warner stories, and a little bit else. Talking with the 2023 ICC Test Player of the Year, Usman Khawaja, who ambassador for Prime Video ahead of the next T20 World Cup, which is just around the corner. Uzi, I mean, that stat there, the ICC Test Player of the Year, firstly, congratulations. And secondly, you said before you've only got a couple of years left. It'd be ridiculous to go out now, wouldn't it? I mean, you've got plenty of cricket left in you, especially winning awards like this.
Yeah, I didn't say a couple, I said few. I sort of just leave it vague. I don't really know. I just got to roll with it. I didn't mean to. I meant few. No, I actually have no idea. I'm just enjoying the game, and you're right. It's for me. I'm really enjoying the game. I've been dropped so many times throughout my career. I've been part of Australian teams which have been tough work. I've personally found them really tough work to be a part of. But not this one. I've really enjoyed. Maybe it's a bit of where everyone's at with their cricket. We're a successful team. We play well. We're a mature team, and the leadership of Paddy himself it's relaxed, and it's, I guess for me personally, it works really well for me. The way I like to play cricket and the way I like to go about it: train hard, work hard. When you get to the game, figure out a way to relax and just play the game. And I think that's what we've been doing, and it's been really enjoyable for me. So I think more than any of the successes I've had, the amount of enjoyment I've been having playing for Australia over the last couple of years, it'd be a shame to leave just right now for that reason. So,
mate, your numbers, and I don't know how many cricketers look back and define themselves on numbers. I'm sure it's more about the experiences they have, but 73 tests, over 5,000 runs, closing on 5,500, 1,500s. But do you ever think in the back of your head Travis Head is a complete legend for getting COVID? Because maybe that Sydney Test doesn't happen against England. Maybe the twin tons and the retention of your place doesn't happen. God bless Travis and his flippant behaviour without wearing a face mask.
Thank you, Travis. I appreciate it. 100%. I even joked about it. You get a gold jacket given by the players after every Test match for who they think. The person who got it first gives it to who they think the best performer was, and I got it during that SCG Test match, and I was so devastated. It was one of my funnier moments. I think they cut it out of that scene. First thing I did was thank Heady. about getting COVID. That was the first thing I did. And then I made a joke about how easy it was batting at 5. I was like, is this what it's like batting at 5? Oh, lock me in. 200s, 2 innings. So I had a bit of fun with it. But no, I even joke about it to this day. I mean, I joke about it that I was the man who had his PCR test and rubbed it all in the elevators, all in the foyer of the hotel, and then put it back in the packet and sent it away. So no, it's not lost. I still joke around with Heady about it here and then. I can, because obviously I was in his spot at 5, but he came back in 5, and obviously I went to opening, unfortunately for Harry, but it was one of those things where it was an unbelievable turn of events, because I kind of clocked off a little bit. I didn't get picked in the first test, and the guys were going well. Team was flying. We were winning. We weren't losing. So I kind of just resided the fact that then I got changed to team, and they shouldn't. So I was on a bit of a Kentucky, 12-man Kentucky anyway, as it was. So it all came at a bit of rush. I was like, oh crap, I'm playing.
Yeah.
So for them to get from oh crap, I'm playing, to playing, scoring 100 in the first innings, which was unbelievable, scoring 100 in the second innings, something I hadn't done before, even in first class cricket. I got a couple of 100s and 90s in the second innings, or 90s and 100. I never got 100. To do that in a test match, on that specific test match, it just had to be fate. It was still pinch myself about that feeling, because a lot of people don't get the opportunity to ever, never experience something like that. And walking off the field, one of my favourite memories, walking off the field at the tea break of the first 100 I scored, and everyone chanting Uzi. And I was like, yeah, okay, I could stop playing cricket right now. This is pretty nice.
Oh, it's like that crowd in Moscow cheering for Rocky at the end of Rocky 4. It's just like the whole thing turns around.
I love the Rockies.
Well, so you later this year, obviously, you're going to face up to what will be a pretty hot Indian attack with Steve Smith up the top of the order, which means that, of course, life goes on without David Warner in the Test team. You've known Davey since you were teenagers, a very, very long time. So you know him backwards. Have you got something for us? Because you might end up one time soon sharing a commentary box with each other. So some good stuff's going to come out there, I dare say. But have you got something, a Davey story that's not apparent for the rest of us? Maybe back in those days playing cricket as teenagers?
I mean, teenagers, I've got so many Davey Warner stories, and I can only tell like 10% of them, I think. It's just one of those.
He's the GST.
I love Davey. Even Davey, there's two sides of Davey. I see the lovable character, and he just makes me laugh so much. I mean, the earliest memories, which I've mentioned before, him like chucking the cherries when we were young. He used to love chucking the cherries at tea breaks at the kids, and the mums would be blowing up at that. They would hate it. But the funny one was one. We went to the Under-19 World Cup, and the cleaners came and they complained that something had happened, and the coach was like, "What happened?" He's like, "Oh, someone's wrote on the wall." And they're like, "What?" And it was Davey. Well, we don't know who it was, but what was written on the wall was David Warner. He wrote his own name on the wall. I'm not sure why. I'm not sure whether he thought he was going to get away with it. It wasn't the perfect crime. And don't get me wrong, Davey is street smart. Davey is one of the smartest, one of the most cagiest people I've met. So it was a very weird thing for him to write. I don't know where he was going with writing his own name on the wall. But he did. And when the coach came up to him and said, "Hey, why'd you write your name on the wall?" He was like, "No, it wasn't me."
Are we sure that no one did it?
Someone else wrote your name on the wall in your own room. It was one of my favourite. He knew he'd effed up, but he was still going to put up a fight. And I love Davey for that. That's the way he is. That's the way he was. The way he'll always be. You got to love him for it.
Oh, brilliant. Here's a curly one. Producer Sam came up with this one. So you need to bat out a day to save a game. Day 5, pitch is doing a bit. There's a second new ball available in the final session. Who are you choosing at the other end to see it through? Is it Davey or is it someone else?
In terms of
saving
batting with me?
Yep, batting with you to save a test match for Australia.
Or
maybe win it.
I mean, if it's Davey at the other end, I did say that's got to be going through his head. It's like, what are we going to do? What's going on? But I love to do it with Davey just because of the experiences we've shared. I mean, Smudge is the same. I played a lot with Smudge going up too. And I played a lot with Marnus, but I think it's just a little bit more with Davey in terms of we literally knew each other since we were 5 years old. And everyone knows, we've talked about it, even as trialmen, we've talked about it heaps. That emotion's hard to replicate. It's hard to go past. And I think when you bring emotion into it like that, I would love to, do something like that with him at the other end. Would just mean a bit more. But I mean, there's plenty of other guys in that team who I enjoy doing too. If it was bowlers, I'd probably pick Paddy. He seems like he's the guy you want at the other end. Paddy, you lock it down that end, mate. I'll sort it down this end. He seems like he's been doing it time and time again. But batsman, it's hard to go past Davey. We've shared an emotional connection for a long time.
With net sessions, we love asking these questions. Nastiest net sessions that you've experienced where one of your own teammates has decided to pick a vendetta with you, or just got out of the wrong side of bed that morning and just decided to really get amped up when you're trying to get yourself into the frame of mind to succeed in a test match, and it's turned out to something that you didn't really want to happen, and that's you just ducking out the way or wearing a few. Have you ever had that experience in the Australian Test team? Or at Shield level as well, where it's like, whoa, why, mate?
Had a few angry ones, yes. I think Mark Steckety from Queensland wasn't happy about something one day. He just bowled me 10 bounces in a row. Ooh. But I kind of got, instead of like getting angry at him, I kind of just got red eyes. Got into the fight too. I was trying to pull him and trying to hit him everywhere. You go one way or the other. I had, obviously I think I heard Heady talking about the Smudge one with Starkey and the other bowlers, which became infamous. The fact that Smudge had no idea what was going on made it even more funny.
Even though he started it.
Yeah.
Social cue, Steve.
I think I read the situation well enough. I'd like to think I'm cagey enough to see, ooh, he doesn't look happy. I'll go in the spinners net today, gentlemen. Yeah. Oh, yeah, wangers. Yeah, I'll have some wangers. Yeah, no bowls for me today, guys. Thanks. Yeah, no bowls. I feel like I'm smart enough now to get out of those situations, but I guess when you're younger, you have no choice. You have guys like Mitchell Johnson coming at you, bowling full pelt and bowling bounces at you. And he was probably the ugliest. He's the ugliest to face by far. He lost the side of the ball in his action, and then he came down. And the only person I saw that ever pulled Mitchell Johnson, because I pulled Mitchell Johnson in the game. The game is different. You kind of got a better seeing, and he bowled me bounces, and I pulled him for 4 and stuff during the game. He was still fast, and he was still a very good bowler, very fast bouncer. But the nets is just different. And Ricky Ponting, the only person I saw that got bumped by Mitchell Johnson, and he go, and I was like, this guy's at another level. Who is this guy? What is he doing? Get out of the way, punter. But he was the only person, man. He used to take it on and he used to smack it. And I was in such awe of punter. Always have been in awe of him, and that just solidified his his greatness to me.
Mate, you're active on Instagram. We've had a little look, of course. There's a picture of a young Aussie with Gilly, Adam Gilchrist. LeBron said it was like seeing God when he first met Michael Jordan. So was it the same kind of situation for you and Gilly? With Gilly, I should say? Or not quite God?
Not quite God, but I was definitely in awe, don't get me wrong. It was the closest thing you could get to a God, I reckon. It was, I'd do anything. Gilly could have asked me anything, do anything that night. I probably would have done it. It was Gilchrist. It was, there was Lara for me growing up. I love Lara. But then it was Adam Gilchrist. After, Lara kind of like sort of retired, phased out, but Gilly was still playing. And I've said it before, I really struggled to support the Australian cricket team growing up. I just couldn't relate. The guys that were playing the team, they didn't look like me, they didn't act like me, and they're the same guys that were sledging me and racially vilifying me behind the scenes when I was growing up. So I found it really hard to support the Australian cricket team. The guys like Adam Gilchrist, Brett Lee, they changed my way of thinking, and finally, probably when I got to 13, started supporting the Australian cricket team, and Gilly was a major factor of that. So I love Gilly. This guy's the nicest guy in the world. He's got respect, he's got humility, all the things that I kind of grew up with, particularly in my subcontinent background. Subcontinent background is it's a background based on conservative sort of traits, humility, respect your elders, speak when spoken to, all those sorts of things. I just thought Gilly, always smiling, he just encapsulated all of that. And then I had the Puma bat, the Puma Classic like Gilly back in the day, and all the gear. I even bought a yellow helmet because I used to see Gilly and, one day cricket opened the Baston in a yellow helmet, and none of the teams I played for ever had yellow helmets. Everyone's like, what are you doing wearing a yellow helmet? I was like, Gilly wears a yellow helmet, I'm wearing a yellow helmet. So to actually see him that time, I think it might have been at a grade function, a first grade function launch, something with Ramsey Petersham, my grade club in Sydney. To actually get to meet Gilchrist and take a photo, it was just so cool. Hence why the picture is still up in my family's house. And as I said, I would have done anything. Gilly could have asked me to do anything. I would have done it for him that night. I was like, he's a legend. I love him. I still love him. He's still a legend.
Well, that's that's a bit of depth to just what looks like a pretty happy photo. That's a lot behind that, mate, and thank you for sharing. You've also got some photos with some celebs. So who are you more starstruck by? Paul Pierce, the NBA basketballer, Paddy Mills, the all-round legendary Australian full stop but famous basketballer, the dude from I'm not across Harry Potter, mate, but one of the twins or something that's been through all the Harry Potters.
Yeah, I play golf with them. Legend.
You got a photo with one of those.
He's a good player too.
One of those guys. Do you get starstruck with any of those boys?
There's only one time I've been starstruck, I reckon, properly. And it was like one of the coolest moments. Maybe I'll put something up for you, Adam, in the next few days. It's cool. It's when Will Smith came out to Sydney Thunder vs Stars match. And we were there, obviously, at the MCG, and he came out in the ground. Yeah. And I got to see Will Smith, and I was like, man, I grew up watching Fresh Prince. I love Fresh Prince. And I had not missed an episode of Fresh Prince. I could regurgitate all the episodes and the lines that go on from Fresh Prince. And I was like, man. And it took me about half an hour to muster up the courage. I'm like, you will never get this opportunity again. You will never get an opportunity to meet Will Smith again in your life, I reckon. So go up to him. So I went up to him. And I sort of just tapped him on the back. And he was like, hey man, I was like, how you going? I was like, do you mind if we do the Jazzy Jeff handshake together? And he was like, oh, you mean this? And he just took his hand out. And it was just like poetry in motion. He took his hand out, I took my hand out, and we just... At the same time, I've got a gift on my phone. It is one of my favourite things. I still look at it thinking, that is so cool. Like, it was perfectly in sync. Yeah. And that's one time where I thought that's still my top 3 coolest moments. If people ask me cricketing moments, it's in my top 3. That was special. I love that.
Well, it was. I'm glad he did the handshake, because when Chris Rock tried to do that handshake with him when he came up on stage that time, it turned out a bit different. So he was in a better mood with you, mate. Thankfully.
He got his head in the way, unfortunately, but he was just trying to do the Jazzy Jeff handshake. I'm sure of it.
Oh God, mate. Thank you so much for the time and having a chat on Willow Talk. I know you're looking forward to the T20 World Cup with your gig with Prime Video. Good luck with that. Enjoy the experience. I can't see how you don't enjoy the experience of India-Pakistan over there. And are you going to go around like with a T-shirt that says "I am the people's champ" or anything like that when you're over there? Because that's how you labelled yourself on this.
I just don't have to, Adam. It's just who I am. They just know. They just shout it out.
Oh God.
No, thanks, Amy, man. I really enjoyed it, and I'm glad, that you could really enjoy my time here, and then that I know you've had a lot of big people on the show lately, and it's been great to be a part of it. So, thank you.
If you're listening, everyone, you can't see what he's doing. Uzi has just put up a photo of Virat Kohli on his phone. He's come with a prop, and like we had with Rabada and Virat joining each other on Willow Talk not that long ago. Uzi's brought it to the table as well, so appreciate it.
It's
mate.
The same thing. That was the same thing. Virat, I didn't realise he was here. Sorry, he's just gone. He went back out. He's gone.
Sorry, it was uncanny. I don't know what he's doing in southeast Queensland, but good luck to him.
Holidays like everyone else.
Thanks for the chat, mate. Have a good one.
Cheers. Thanks, mate. Cheers.
Yeah, thanks for watching the Willow Talk podcast on YouTube. Don't forget to hit the subscribe button so you don't have to miss an episode wherever you are. And while you're at it, check out these videos up here. They're mostly good.